Hello, hello, friends. Oh my goodness. I just realized before I came on that it has been a really long time since I've done an Instagram Live. So this is fun. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. I have a super special guest joining us here for what I think is going to be a really interesting, really helpful conversation. Those of you who macro track currently or are interested in macro tracking, we're going to have such a great conversation with Miss Lillie from Lillie Eats and Tells. So I think she's joining us here. Let me just, oh, that's not her. Let's just wait a few more minutes. Hopefully she'll join us here just shortly. So today, for those of you who are just hopping on, I have the privilege of interviewing someone I know you guys love. So many of you already know. That's not her either. We're gonna keep waiting until she joins us here. Let me see if I can. One sec. Let me see if I can invite her to join. We still have some time, but see if that works here. Okay. Now, so many other people are requesting to join. That's what's throwing me off here. So hang tight, guys. But anyways, we are getting ready to chat with Lillie from Lillie Eats and Tells. I know so many of you guys already know and love her, but she's totally changed the way I think about macro tracking, the way so many other women think about macro tracking, and let's see. And I just think that her approach to this strategy is just like really refreshing. Oh, here we go. Okay. Here we go. Let's see if hopefully this is gonna work. Like I said, it's been a minute since I have done this. Okay. Unable to join. Why is that? Well, shoot, gang. I don't know what's happening. Hold on. Let me get real weird here. Y'all can see my face real close. Um, Sorry for the technical difficulties here. Let's see if that works. Hang on, guys. Okay, not sure what's happening here. Just bear with me. We might get this going here shortly. We might not. So, one sec. Okay. Let's see if this works. I'm just pressing all kinds of buttons, so. Oh, there we go. Hey, sorry, I was like, okay, what am I doing wrong here?
And I have you in here, like it's probably me. But see, even this, where am I supposed to sit so my head's not chopped off? I don't know. I don't know.
I know. It's like you got to be real far away from the camera, which is kind of awkward. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry that we got off to a little rocky start there, but I'm so excited to have you. I know that so many people are joining us live and really excited to hear from you. So I know you just got back from a trip, or are you still on your trip?
No, we're home. We
Okay,
got
okay,
home.
good. I hope you
Yeah.
had a great time.
Thank
It's
you.
always fun to live vicariously through your stories that you share. Okay, so just so let me give everybody a little background and then we'll get into this. But I was saying earlier when I was completely distracted, so I'll start over. I'm super excited to bring you guys Lillie from Lillie Eats and Tells today. And she has just really brought a different perspective to macro tracking for me. She's been such a huge resource for me. Her story and her recipes have really inspired not only me, but hundreds of thousands of people on the internet. Over the years, she shares delicious, like sustainable, realistic, meals for your family, but that are also macro friendly. And so I know that you guys are going to enjoy hearing her perspective on this. I think it's so important for us to, as women, stop fearing food and start really fueling our bodies with freedom and confidence. I think that you, Lillie, have taught me that. So, those of you who are listening, if you're feeling overwhelmed with the idea of it, I totally get it. I was there too. Or if you've wondered, like, how do you make this feel like natural? Like, how can this be a part of my life without it just being so overwhelming and daunting? I think you're going to really love this conversation, and it's going to be a breath of fresh air. So, little background: I've started following you, Lillie, in like 2019, back when I was kind of newer to macro tracking and newer to coaching, and have been obsessed with you ever since. I love your blog and your cookbooks. I have like all of your cookbooks.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, and your meal subscription, the meal plan subscription. I love that as well. Just have been a real game changer for me. And you have taught not only me, but a lot of my clients how to incorporate fun foods that we all enjoy. I've shared, all of your books and whatnot with my clients over the years. But it's really been nice. A couple of things that I love personally. You've taught me how to batch cook protein. That's like hands down my favorite thing.
Yeah.
And to make meals that are not only delicious, but loaded with vegetables, because I'm like meat and potatoes kind of, I like the vegetables are kind of an afterthought for me. And so you
Yeah.
bring that in. We actually just had my mom had surgery. I took her soup and I made soup for myself. But we made your chicken pot pie soup, and that was so delicious. And
I
the
love that
cauliflower
one.
like makes it so creamy. Yeah.
So good.
So anyway, and the nightly shake is like totally a Mattingly household obsession. So
Oh, good.
yeah,
That makes
yeah,
me
we all
happy.
love that around here. So we're going to dive into, I'm going to ask Lillie some questions to really dig into the mindset of macro tracking and the practical tips, and, just really learning how to enjoy this process of fueling your body without that obsession and guilt. So thank you so much for being here. I really
You're welcome.
appreciate you
Thanks for
you
having
joining.
me.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. Let's start. I know not everyone knows your story, so let's go back to the beginning. And it says obsessed with the shake
I know, I
forever and
love it.
ever. I love a
I
saying,
love
right?
it.
Yeah. Okay, go back to the beginning of your journey. Like, how did you get into macro tracking? What started this? How did it evolve into what you do today?
Yeah, it was 2017. So you caught me just a couple years after I'd started. It was like Halloween. So we're on exactly, is that 8 years now?
Yeah.
Right? Because it started just before Halloween. And Ross and I had planned, it's actually like really poignant for me, like why I started counting macros, because we had this whole trip to Italy planned that we
Mhm.
had to cancel. And we didn't travel a lot back then. That was like a really big deal. And then we had to cancel it because I was having some gallbladder issues,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was totally new to me. We ended up rescheduling and going. But I tell you that because before that, I feel like everything was, focused on, I still appreciate this, but whole foods, good healthy fats, maybe high fat. I would never have bought something low fat at the grocery store. That was like shameful, right? Like
Yeah.
if it's low fat, then it's full of crap, which is true sometimes, but it's not always true. I feel like it gets too bad of a rap. It's not always true. But so this was a new phase for me because the doctor told me to eat like a low fat diet, trying to figure out
Mm.
this whole gallbladder situation.
Yep.
And so it just kind of coincided with another friend of mine who was getting a macro counting. She moved away. And anyway, long story short, because I'm not like a rule follower. I'm not a good, like, I've never used a trainer at the gym. I have like commitment issues. I just like to go by my own, like, beat on my own drum at my own pace, wake up when I want, like, I don't know. I'm just not good at like regimen. So it's kind of
Hmm.
ironic because people think this can be pretty obsessive.
Yeah.
Um, But at that time, I had my friend, the Salted Sweets. If anybody follows her, Brooke,
Yeah.
she does the Salted Sweets blog. She's like my bestie, and we were raising our kids out in the desert together, and we both kind of discovered macro counting. And she liked this than me, and so she was the one that was like, "Let's just do it. Let's just try it. We're gonna use a coach." I was like, "No, I'm just gonna do it on my own." She's like, "No, we're gonna sign up for a coach." So we used like Amber, I stuffed babies, and just like went for it. It was going to be short term. I thought it was crazy. I thought it was just while I was maybe in the stint of like needing low fat foods. And then I felt my body did something it had never done before. Like all of a sudden I was like leaner than I'd ever been. I felt strong. I was actually eating way more than I feel like I was before. You can't really know, right? Because you weren't tracking, you don't really know how much you're eating. But
Exactly.
mentally, at least, I felt like I was just eating so much wonderful food. And I was getting these meals I was creating. And I think I am kind of a nerd with numbers and math. So it was super satisfying to me. I like puzzles. It's like really satisfying to me to build this day and have all these delicious meals. And anyway, so I started sharing those pictures on Instagram. I've said this too many times, but I was like so embarrassed. I was at the beginning of Instagram, and I had no intention of like any kind of business. So I was like so embarrassed. Like I didn't want people to think I was trying to create something. So I just didn't want anybody to follow me. I just wanted somewhere to put my pretty food. And
Yeah.
then eventually I let people find it.
Yeah. And
But
thank
that's how it
goodness.
started.
Yeah, thank goodness
Yeah.
you
Thanks.
did open that up to us because you've been such a great help to to us. What was like what some of the I know you kind of mentioned this already, but some of the most eye-opening lessons you learned? I know for me personally, like you said, you were eating all the healthy fats, and that was me. All I ate was carbs and healthy fats. Like peanut butter
Hmm.
was, the only food group I ate, and oatmeal, and
Yeah.
while I wasn't necessarily eating badly, it was, it's just so nice to like visualize and have that data to say, oh, okay, here's
Right.
where I'm falling short and here's where I'm like way overdoing it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's what was so eye-opening. And I still, it still bothers me, or it just makes me sad that there's can be so much like shame around
hmm
caring, around like wanting to know what you're eating. Like,
yeah,
you can take anything and make a negative spin, like take a negative spin on it and call it like obsessive or diet culture. And I totally understand there are a million reasons why some of us need to really be careful around those kind of
sure.
things, anything diet related. But for me, this was so liberating because yeah, it was like, okay, you can either like want to feel good and you're just sort of like, okay, I'm just going to eat cleaner, and you're just going to keep
hmm
trying to eat cleaner and wonder like where the chips are going to fall and like why do I still not really feel better. And then it's really frustrating because you are trying and
Yeah.
you feel like you're sacrificing because you're still skipping whatever yummy processed food you used to love or whatever it is, you're making sacrifices. So it's like
hmm
if you're going to make sacrifices, I want it to work. So
Yeah,
I just think that's
100%.
that's what was so eye opening to me about macro counting was like, okay, so sure, if you don't want to worry about it, if that's ruins your life, then don't worry about it. But if you're going to
Right.
worry about it either way because you want to feel good, then like find something with a formula with data, or that's why I like this is there's data. So
Yes.
even if what you're doing with macro counting isn't working, you have the data so you can then change it. So
Exactly.
and that's like a whole
Yeah.
different topic, but that's why in a sense I think it should work for anybody because not the same numbers or even the same ratio, but
hmm
using the data to achieve your goals is a
Yeah,
great
I
formula.
mean, I always say it's like, okay, do you want to just throw spaghetti at the wall or do you want to get like real intentional and work smarter, not harder? Like that's the
Yeah.
difference between eating healthy and eating intentionally. It's you're still doing it. You're still making that effort, but you're literally making it easier on you to reach your goals. Having that strategy. So I,
Right.
I think it's such a great tool and like you said, so eye-opening just to learn more about yourself. There's so much like talk about, oh, just eat intuitively. Well, how do you know like how to eat intuitively unless you actually do the work first? I think the macro
Yeah.
tracking comes first and then you realize, okay, this is how I need to eat. And you start to be able to eat more intuitively. I think most of us women, tend to undereat most of the time until we can't anymore, and then we overdo it. So it just kind of gives you that the guardrails and parameters
Right.
there. So this obviously changed my relationship with food. I'm assuming it changed your relationship with food, like just starting to understand those macros. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, just what I said, like I was gonna say one of the biggest adjustments was fats.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of backtracking, but I think that's maybe like one of the biggest things you learn tracking macros is yes, fat is good for you. Like I like to tell people like, because there's a lot of pushback if you like eat something with like a low fat mayo or something, and they're like, oh, why would I use that? Like it's so much more nutritious to use this other one, which is
Hmm.
true. But like juice is a lot more nutritious than water. Mayonnaise is a lot more nutritious than water because there are actual nutrients in it. Doesn't mean that I'm going to drink mayonnaise or that I want to eat a lot of mayonnaise, or whatever it is.
Right.
So it's not, it just depends on what your goal is. So
Exactly.
so hang on. What was your question? Because I just got sidetracked.
Oh, that's okay. Just your relationship with food, how did it
Yeah.
change?
Just that, yeah. I mean, for me, it's just that I get to decide. Like, I love that before I almost feel like it's like in the a disguise of having a good relationship with food for me is
Hmm.
like, oh, I'm not going to care, I'm just going to eat intuitively or whatever, but really
Right.
I'm so discouraged and frustrated because like we said, you don't have control over the results.
Yep.
So instead for me it's so much more positive to think, okay, or I get to control, I get to decide, oh, if I don't put the 2 tablespoons of butter into my bowl of food, I just freed up like, what is that, 300 calories or something? I should know that, but I know fat's more than actual calories. But something massive where I'm like, oh, that means I get to have this much more rice and all
Hmm.
this, all this extra chicken on top, things that are going to fill me up, last so much longer because I really like to eat for a long time,
Yep.
um, and feel so much better and look so much better at the end. Like it's just the
Yeah.
best feeling. So
100%.
yeah, for me, it's just so positive because it just made me feel like I have control. I get to decide what's worth it. I get to decide if it's worth mindlessly snacking on like white chocolate peppermint pretzels at Christmas because I love that so much and it
Hmm.
just come what may, or I get to decide if I want to factor it in, and either way it's going to affect my body. So like I know that now.
Right.
Like you can ignore it but it doesn't change the facts. So I just
Yep.
love that I understand like what things cost and if it's worth it or not, I get to decide.
Exactly. Yes. And I love the fact that your recipes are so like they're they're bulky, they have a lot of volume to them, but they're still lower calorie. So I feel like
Hmm.
you can really manipulate that, especially when you're in a calorie deficit. It's like, you know, people tend to just like want to eat peanut butter and then they want to eat, like these higher fat foods and whatnot, or the meat and potatoes like me. And it's like you
Right.
leave so much nutrition on the table, and you just don't get that like volume of nutrients like you're getting without going all of, way over your calories. So that's,
Right. Right.
a good thing about your recipes. I love. What would you say to somebody who's like hesitant to track macros because they feel like it might be obsessive or it takes the joy out of it or it's just, time consuming even?
Yeah, I would say it will be at first. And
Hmm.
that's just like part of the process. So I think it is at first. It's going to feel like overwhelming at first.
Yeah.
Um, but there's like a steep learning curve, I think. And then it just gets so much easier. And then, yeah, in my mind, it's like, for me personally, it's like that is true intuitive eating is what comes after that. Because
Yeah.
now, like, I feel like I track, but I mean, I don't know when I last actually tracked in my phone. I
Yeah.
might in order to like be able to look something up and tell somebody the fiber and something.
Hmm.
But like I eat so many repeat things and so many of my meals just kind of land in the same ballpark. It's really easy to like on a whim make something different for dinner. I'm not like, oh no, but this meal is not going to fit. I never feel like
Yep.
that. So
Yeah.
yeah, again, I keep like forgetting your question,
Oh no,
Lauren. What
that's
did you
that's
just ask
okay.
me?
Well, I'll keep you on track here. I just,
Keep me on track.
I get a lot of pushback of this is
Oh
gonna,
yeah.
have bring negative emotions, or
Oh
like
yeah.
I just don't have time for it. And there also, you have a great point of, yes, it's, I mean, like with any new skill, it's going to take time. You're going to be a little
Yeah.
frustrated, it's going to take longer to get the hang of it. Okay, like I always say, it's like putting reps in the gym. The more you do it, the better you get at it, the stronger you become.
Right.
But um there's also like so much technology out there now that, like, I know, with the app that I use to track, which is the faster way, we have AI technology that makes
Yeah.
tracking so easy. Like, you can literally voice log your food into the app and it tracks it
Hmm.
for you. You can take a picture and it will track your meal for you. And so, like, so many ways that, like, you can take this maybe
Yeah.
complicated thing and even create more,
That is
flexibility there.
so true. And I mean, I'm jealous of new macro counters now because that's exactly why I do what I do. Is when I started, I was so excited about how I was feeling. I was like, yeah, I never felt so good. So I was
Hmm.
like, well, I guess this is what I'm doing now. But I was a food lover. And I'm such a lover of food. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
why I do what I do. So I was not okay with this concept of like, I'll just meal prep like chicken, broccoli, rice, whatever, like really basic foods like that.
Yeah.
I also was not into what I was seeing online, which was, it seems like the market was mostly full of like the men, like the if it fits your macros hashtag,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
male meal like recipe creators, and they're awesome, but it's different than how I like to eat. And
Yeah.
it was a lot of like protein, um, waffles and I do protein waffles, but protein Pop Tarts and protein
Right.
donuts, and
Right.
everything was just in my the way. Once I understood macros, so I'm like looking at this and I'm like, there's no like veggie snack in there. There's no volume producer in there. That's still
Yeah.
going to knock out a ton of carbs and calories for a small portion. It's just lower in fat or whatever it is, and or now it has protein in it, but
Yeah.
it's not actually for someone like me. It would not help me, and it
Mm.
wasn't what I wanted. It's also not how I wanted to eat. I'd never eaten Pop
Right.
Tarts before. I didn't now want a protein Pop Tart. I
Yeah.
wanted beautiful meals. I wanted pizzas and flatbreads and wraps and chicken sandwiches and pastas, and I wanted all the food I was eating before, but to like
Mhm.
make it work,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was this lover of all the food bloggers. I love Pinch of Yum. I still love Pinch of Yum
Mm-hmm.
so much. I have all this
Mm-hmm.
inspiration. So in my mind, I was like, I need that with macros. I want real
Yep.
beautiful meals with macros that I like. I just thought, oh, how amazing would that be if I could just log this? I remember I
Yep.
had a book by Skinny Taste, and she's incredible. But
Yep.
even still, I was like, okay, these macros are like pretty good, but they're not what you want when you're counting macros. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and I shouldn't say that. Hers are amazing. I'm like, don't get me wrong, they're amazing. But at the time, when you're in
Three.
a deficit, and you just started counting macros, you
Yeah.
need these exceptionally lower fats. It's like it's not what normal healthy recipes were providing. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yep. I get it.
Like
Yeah.
you needed it a little bit more, like more
Right.
extreme, higher protein, lower fats.
Yes.
So anyway,
Exactly.
I was like, this needs to exist to help it. So for
Yeah.
new macro counters, I just feel like it's so much easier now because
Right.
like I'm not the only one. There's a lot of recipe creators that create recipes where the macros are
Mm-hmm.
calculated for you. I'm surprised how often people don't understand. They'll have my meal plan and they still don't understand. You do not have to calculate it yourself. You don't have
Right.
to weigh your recipe. You're just
Yeah.
gonna make my recipe or Stay Fit Mom or all these other amazing recipe creators. And then you're just gonna log your portion of that recipe at the end. So it
Right.
makes it really doable.
Yes, exactly. And that was going to be my next point, is like, if you are, especially if you're new, like I always tell my clients, like, don't follow recipes, like, or don't like try to create recipes and do all this work in the beginning. Like, either keep it really simple,
Yes.
or go to Lillie's
An
website, go to her
actual macro,
blog.
yeah.
Yeah, and a
That's what I would
macro
say. I would
expert.
say keep it simple
Yeah.
or go to a macro
Yes.
recipe creator because it is
Right. And
different.
then you
It's gonna
just
make it a lot
click
easier.
add it into your food log. It is so simple, and it takes all of that work out of the equation for you. So, like, it just doesn't make sense for me to spend the time like researching, finding a recipe on Pinterest, and then trying to, like, I mean, now we have Chat GPT at least, which you can,
Yeah.
plug in recipes and get roughly, a decent idea on the macros there. But, like, I mean, we didn't have that, when I started
Yeah.
tracking macros.
And I'm still
So,
so skeptical of that
oh,
just
of
because,
course. Yeah.
I
I
know just
mean,
because, but I'm sure it's come like a long way,
Yeah,
but the
it has.
pictures, like I'm so skeptical of that.
Right, right. But when you can go to Lily's website and have a meal that's delicious and know the macros, like why would you do all that work? Um, and the other thing I love about your recipes, I'm getting a little off track, but that just makes it so easy is how you track it in grams. So like, instead of like it's 6 servings. I'm like, well, what is do I have to like cut this casserole into six and like individually,
Or your soup.
right? Or
How are you
soup?
gonna
I'm
do
like,
that?
forget about it. I'm not doing the macros for a soup because that is just way too too much work. So thank you for doing all that work for us.
You're welcome.
But yeah, when you can just like, okay, I just had 150 grams of that, and that's how you log it. It's just like so much
Yeah.
better. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and not a lot of
again, with the
people do it that way.
flexibility.
Yeah,
And again, I remember
100%.
when I first started counting macros, I had a friend who was also doing it. And I remember her specifically, she was like eating a bar and she was like, I don't even like this bar, but I already logged it, so I have to eat it. Like
Oh,
she didn't know how to log. It was like too
yeah.
complicated to figure out how to log a portion of it. And I'll never forget it. I'm like, never. I will never eat. I won't eat a bite of something that's not like worth it. Like when people are
Oh,
pounding protein that they don't want, that breaks my heart. Because I'm
yeah.
like, there are so many delicious ways to get your protein. You will never see me eating like egg whites at night because I need more protein. Like
Right.
never.
No.
There are a
Yeah.
million delicious ways to get it in your recipes if you just like
Yeah.
plan a little, just a teeny bit, or at least have some good prep protein and
Yeah.
put it in the meals that make sense. So you're not,
Right.
anyway,
Which is what I
yeah.
do with your recipes literally all the time. Your apple cider chicken, grilled chicken, whatever
Well, chicken,
is,
yeah,
oh, that one's so good. And you can use that just like what in so many
for
different
everything.
ways.
Yeah,
I think also people are like, oh my gosh, like if I track macros, I have to literally eat plain chicken and steamed broccoli, and that's like disgusting,
yeah,
but you can
boring.
find so many different ways, as you said, to season and like marinate and make these,
And
proteins taste
sauces, like
wonderful.
having
Yeah.
homemade light sauces are such a game
Yeah.
changer to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And it's really nice to have those as opposed to like trying to find something at the store that's gonna, not be, super
right,
high in fat as well.
right, right.
Yeah, okay. So what are your like top tips for macro tracking? How do you make it as simple as possible? Do you have some like rule of thumb there?
Um, just for me personally, macro tracking, or
Maybe it would be for like a person who's starting out,
yeah,
or
I would
macro
say, like you said, the bulk prep protein
yeah.
is number one. And to me, that's so, it's like so obvious. I'm hesitant to say it again, but I've learned that it's not obvious for everybody because
No.
we've always kind of cooked like that, even
Hmm.
before macros. I think, honestly, I did Body for Life back in college.
Hmm.
Do you remember that?
No, what
Did
is
you ever do
that?
that? You're younger than me, but
Not
and
much.
that was like focused on protein. And I grew
Yeah.
up in a household that was like my brother played like professional football. My dad used to run like health clubs. Like they were like,
Yeah.
you still have plenty of areas where we ate cans and cans of nacho cheese, but
Hmm.
overall my family was like aware of at least
Hmm.
like healthy food.
Hmm.
Anyway, so protein was always pretty important in our house. So that's like was pretty natural for me.
Yeah.
So we are always going to have bulk prep protein in our fridge. And I feel like that is like number one for macro counting. I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest mistakes people make when they start and they're like pulling their hair out, like, this is impossible. I'm always going way over in fats and I can't hit my protein. That's like the juggle in the beginning.
Right.
And you got to like peel away the layers and start basic. And that's where maybe you
Sure.
do start with chicken and broccoli and rice for just a minute until you figure it out. But
Hmm.
you got to
Yeah.
start with the thing that matters, which is the lean protein. So you want to keep that separate and isolated because if the only way you're getting your protein is in like uh lean, mean, like even if it's marketed as something healthy, it's some like lean fettuccine Alfredo from the grocery store.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
still going to have 11 grams of protein and 50 carbs. So you're like,
Right.
oh, it has 11 grams of protein, and it's boasting like 11 grams of protein, but you just got 15. You just got 50 carbs, and you just got like 500, 600 calories, and only 11 grams of protein.
Right.
It's going to be an uphill battle the rest of the day to try
Exactly.
and somehow make this jigsaw fit where you still hit your protein when
Yep.
you've already gone over your fats and your carbs,
Right.
things
Hmm.
like that. So,
Yep.
so it's much easier if you start simple and you're like, okay, if my goal is protein, I'm gonna grill all this yummy chicken, but that doesn't mean I have to eat chicken and rice. It just
Hmm.
means I'm gonna start my meal with like this much chicken in my lunch salad and in my dinner tacos or my chicken sandwich. And
Hmm.
then how, for me, a really simple formula, and I hesitate to say this because I feel like not everybody loves salad. And so if you hate diet culture and you hate salad, then you think that it's like the epitome of like an obnoxious girl who eats salad, like rabbit food. I absolutely love salad. I love it because it's huge. I love fresh, crunchy textures. I love tons of stuff in my salad, but I love it. And same with just a bowl in general, because you can add all the carbs and fats you want, or you can peel them all away if you need to. So
Yes.
whatever your needs are for that day. So I feel like if you're new, you start with the bones, and you've got
Hmm.
a huge bed of greens and all of your super, super light veggies. And then you've got all the chicken you need to hit your protein goal. And then after maybe you've logged your whole day or something, then you can go back and say, oh, I've still got room for fats. Okay, now I can add avocado and cheese to my salad. Oh,
Yeah.
I've got lots of carbs. I can add rice or grain or roasted sweet potatoes to my salad.
Brilliant.
Or
Yeah.
both. You don't love salads.
Right.
So anyway, I
I
think
love that.
starting with the bones and then adding the yummy things in addition, which is what you'll see that a lot in my meal plan.
Hmm.
Like you'll have, and I don't mean to just do like a plug, but you'll see like the bulk of like the recipe, and then now that I'm putting in a meal plan and I want your macros to really make sense for a day, I'll see like, oh, you've got more room for fat. For me in my kitchen, I'm going to decide what I want on my
Hmm.
soup. If it's worth, if I want Parmesan cheese, or if I want mozzarella, or if I just want butter on a piece of bread.
Right.
But you get to decide. But in the meal plan, I'll give you some suggestion, but they're very easy things to remove or add. So anyway,
Yeah.
just start.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm sorry I'm talking so much. Even like my
No.
big one dish meal recipes, you're going to see fats are a lot lower than you would normally see, because naturally, if you're making a big, beautiful, healthy soup, it's still really healthy, even if you're adding tablespoons of olive oil. But
Hmm.
it's going to add up and make it a little harder for your macros. So for me,
Right.
I'm not going to start with all the olive oil, and you're going to end up with a soup that is really macro friendly. It's going to
Yeah.
be so low in fat that then you get to decide if you want to add more fats,
Yeah.
and that's easy
Yeah.
to do.
Add toppings and whatnot. Yeah, that's great. And I love like macro manipulatable meals, like you said,
Yeah.
is a salad or a bowl, or it's like even when you're like a shake like yours, you can, totally
All
manipulate
the
that.
toppings. Yeah.
Yeah, based on what you have in your bank. And I like that
Right.
you said, maybe log your food ahead of time. That's kind of a tactic I like to share early on, so that you can kind of go back and adjust or add to, like you said,
Totally. Yeah.
after your day, throughout your day, instead of getting to the end of the day, logging all your food, and then you're like, oh, well, there we go. I just ruined my whole day, because I didn't, plan a little bit better. What
Right.
um what would you say, like, how do you navigate feeding a family? I think that this is another like major hurdle for women. They think that, and this is kind of unfortunate, honestly, for me, I think. They think that they can't eat the same thing their family eats, or vice versa. And that sounds exhausting to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't be a short order cook. That's not going
Yeah.
to work for me. So, how do you handle like picky eaters, or, just kind of what your family wants versus what you want?
Yeah. Well, again, that's why I create the recipes that I do. So pretty much everything I make is trackable, because either I'm making it and calculating it for the future, or it's something I've already made. So, and if
Yeah.
not, even if I made like a brand, even if I threw together a soup, like just mindless, because I didn't want to follow any recipe and I just wanted to use the veggies I have, then
Hmm.
I'm just going to track my other chicken veggie soup. Because again, because I know the way I create recipes, I'm not putting any high calorie, I'm not throwing a bunch of flour in there to thicken it, I'm not throwing butter or cream. So they're all going to land pretty similar. So for
Yeah.
me, I know I've got all these recipes in my arsenal, and that's what's so helpful when you use my recipes or other macro creators. It's all calculated for you. So
Yeah.
you just make those recipes and you pick the ones that you think your family will like. And we've got
Hmm.
tons of soups and one dish meals that do work for families. But for me, now, if I'm being totally honest, like my anytime I pull my audience, the book that's the fan favorite always is one. Like it's one dish
Yeah.
meals. I have
Mine
two
too.
volumes, and the first volume still wins.
Yep.
And it's like pots, pans,
Mm.
skillets, etc. So I know that works. Like most families prefer that for their kids.
Yeah.
Now, my girls eat like me. They eat like colors and all the veggies, but my boys are much pickier.
Yeah.
And I still find it easiest to cook like my first cookbook, Leaped. And that's the meal plan is like a merge of the two for that same reason. We've got 3 meals in the week. You make this bulk prep protein, and then you're gonna use it on Sunday night with your side and
Hmm.
your salad or whatever. And then you're gonna repurpose it in maybe a chicken sandwich on Tuesday. And
Yeah.
then you're gonna
Love
repurpose it maybe on these rice bowls or flatbreads or whatever on Thursday. And I love meals like that, like you said, Lauren, that are buildable
it. Yep.
because they're so customizable. I can add all the toppings and fixings that are in the recipe on mine and Ross's, but the boys can skip all the veggies, and I can just make
For
them eat
sure.
their air fried green beans on the side of their simple flatbread or whatever.
Yep.
So that's really easy it's really easy to me to eat the same meal, but that doesn't mean it has to look the same on our plate or a bowl.
Right. I agree. Yeah. It's kind of like, having the bowl, having maybe like a more of a spread, and, they get to pick I like to say, keep your food whole on your plate for the kids instead of like mixing it all together, because that's when my kids
Right,
are like, I'm out, you know.
right,
But then you get to kind of mix and do, whatever you want to with it to make it extra delicious. So,
right.
yeah. Okay. So do you have like
But
I think,
let me admit, but Lauren, let me admit, here's like a confession though. One more
okay.
thing I will say, because this is not popular, but I do this sometimes too. Um, I especially like once now that my girls are out of the house and it's just my boys who are pickier.
Mhm.
Um, sometimes like my girls really appreciated all the healthy meals, but
Yeah.
sometimes like with just my boys, and if Ross is out of town because he works out of town a couple nights a week, there are nights where I'm like, well, I'm not going to make this big pot of I'm not gonna make this big spaghetti squash casserole if they're just gonna like wind through it and it's
Yeah.
just me eating.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
that's not worth it to me. So there are I still go weak sometimes. There are definitely times like that where I'm like, cool, we have chicken in the fridge. I'm building salad and you guys can have chicken and rice or chicken quesadillas.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly what
that's
I
my
do.
like my SOS, my simple meals. I'm always gonna have the prep protein and I'm always gonna have tons of greens. In fact, one other little tip, I usually build like a huge salad on Sunday for our Sunday
Hmm.
dinner. And
Hmm.
I'll do like a really giant base of all the veggies that don't really add up to anything. The like celery and cucumbers and green onions and fresh herbs and all my greens chopped small. And then I'll put half that in a bag and I'll toss half of it with all of our extra stuff for dinner that night. So
Yep.
that then I have this bag to work with on those nights when I'm like in a pinch. I'm like, I'm just gonna put my salad base. It's like my own homemade salad bag.
Yeah,
And
I
then I
love.
just add my yummy avocado and nuts and cheese, whatever fats and carbs I want on my salad, and make the boys something simple. So I just feel
Okay,
like I need to like admit that.
that's a really good idea. I like the homemade salad kit kit
Yeah.
idea. That's good. Is there anything like do you have like one snack that you eat often? I think repeating meals, especially for those who are new to macro tracking, is like a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you just, rinse and repeat it? And
Yeah.
also, I might have the same breakfast like every single day for like weeks.
Oh yeah.
Or it might be a snack. Is there like something that and maybe it's your shake, I don't know, but
Yeah.
like your go-to
Yeah, no,
snack?
I'm like next level on the ability to repeat things for
Yeah.
like months and months and months on end. I mean, I think I'm
Yeah.
going on like 3 or 4 years on the shake. So,
Right.
I mean, you could call it like a personality disorder. I don't know, but
It's
I
good.
just think that yeah, once you figure out, I'm sorry, I have something going on with my eye.
Oh, it's
I just
okay.
think when you figure out something that you love, like I've never been that excited about meal prep when people do like the matching containers.
Oh.
That to me, I don't know, makes me feel like limited. Like I don't like again, my commitment issues or something. I don't want to feel
Yeah.
like if I don't want to eat that day, I'm like committed to pull it out and eat it. And
Mm.
they seem like too little food to me. If it can fit in one container, it's probably not enough food for me. I
No,
don't know.
it's not.
But but I absolutely eat. I mean, I could go days where I'm probably eating the same lunch and the same dessert for sure and the same breakfast almost
Hmm.
every day.
Yeah.
And I just think if you find something that you love, that checks the boxes, like it's not just that it's like macro friendly, because that would suck, right? For like, okay, I really want to hit my macros, so I'm gonna meal prep this meal. I don't look forward to it. I'm kind of choking it down, but it hits my macros. I would never do that. Like food is
No.
so beautiful and so delicious, and you can have junk food that's really delicious, and you can have health food that's really delicious. You just gotta figure
Right.
out what you love that's
Yeah.
healthy. So I
And
just feel like
how
when
you
you
want to
do
feel the
that,
next day.
yeah. And when you figure out your meals that like check those boxes and macro friendly, etc., but also you feel really satisfied, you feel
Mhm.
full, you don't feel like, oh, that wasn't like quite enough. Repeat it, like no shame. That's how I feel.
Right.
So no,
No,
I
for sure.
what I'm really into right now is my always the shake, literally every night. It's like
Yeah.
I'm just it's like a religion. I just really
Hmm.
love I love like the relaxation. We like sit and watch a show, me and Ross and have the shake. And sometimes it's past 10 and I'm still gonna have the shake. It's always past 10. That was like trying to be cool. But
Yeah,
also,
you're that I
but
think you're
also,
a late night person. I'm more
yes,
of like, yeah, I go to bed and watch TV. That's my kryptonite, I
yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah, Lauren asked me to do this in the morning. I was like, sorry, I don't do mornings.
Yeah, I don't do morning. I really don't do mornings before like noon. So I
Yeah,
can't. Yeah.
like I don't like to see humans until like noon. Just
Yeah.
like my garage and my backyard.
Yeah, just
Um,
don't talk
but
to me.
anyway, the other thing I'm like obsessed with eating every day is my right now these like chocolate protein breakfast bake squares that I make. I keep
Mm.
sharing it, and I'm just like so obsessed with it right now. Like
Is,
anyway, and I
is that
top it
the
with
same?
yogurt, whipped cream, and
Yeah,
fruit.
is that the same? The baked zucchini oats or whatever
So
you
that
call?
was that one I love too. This is kind of
Yeah.
like a very similar recipe, but this one's just easier. There's no zucchini.
Okay.
So it just feels really easy. It just all goes into a blender. And here's what I'll be honest. I was really surprised. I thought because of all the zucchini in that other recipe, the macros would be way better for a portion. And it's just one of
Yeah.
those things where I'm like, it didn't really add up. It's kind of
Oh,
like zucchini doesn't really add anything, but either does like cashew milk. And so and I don't even think the fiber ended up really any higher. Like it
oh,
feels good to
sweet.
know we're eating veggies, but sometimes it's like it's mostly water,
Right.
So I
Right.
love I love the zucchini, the brownie squash oats. I
Those are
still
my
really
favorite.
love those.
Yeah.
But this one is called the chocolate protein breakfast bake. It's not on my blog, but I do have a reel that shares. It's in the meal plan, but I
Okay.
have a reel on my page that shares it.
Okay.
So you know what a trick is I've learned? You can just Google Lillie Eats and Tells like chocolate protein breakfast bake, and you'll be able like Google will find you the Instagram reel. Like I'll even do that
Oh,
to find my own reel.
perfect.
I
Oh,
know,
that's perfect. Yeah,
but
and the
it's
shake is
so
on your
good.
blog, right? Your shake.
Yeah,
Okay, because I think
yeah,
people
got
were
it.
asking where to find that one. So good. Okay, cool. So, if you could give maybe like one piece of advice for the people who are listening who are ready to start tracking but feel like nervous about it, or I don't know, maybe they don't feel qualified or whatever, like it feels daunting, what would that be for you?
Yeah, I would just say, again, like there's a learning curve, so don't like be too hard on yourself if you feel overwhelmed in the beginning, but
Totally.
use the resources.
Hmm.
And maybe just because I'm sure somewhere in here you asked this question, but I didn't like mention it. Um, I think it's just really important to remember that like this doesn't have to be about like deprivation and like
Hmm.
diet culture. Like I have kids, I have 4 kids. I think a lot of us worry about that, and I was worried about that in the beginning. I had raised teenage daughters that are both out of the house. So obviously the last thing I wanted to do was create this like obsessive concern over weighing your food and
Yeah,
like in the sense of a diet.
right.
Honestly, I don't feel that at all with my kids. I feel like this is such a positive thing. It's always for us just been like, we are aware of our bodies and how you
Yeah.
want it to feel and perform. And it matters. It matters you, like what you can do in life, what I can do with my kids, what I'll be able to do with my grandkids. You want to feel good. I don't think there's any shame in that. And I want my
Hmm.
kids to know, like, you'll feel better if your body feels good. Pay attention to what makes your body feel good. We need to
Yeah.
make sure we get enough protein. It's always positive. It's never about like, we don't eat that or we're going to get
No.
fat. Like, I would never say that. It's always about like, are you eating enough protein? That's the way that we build our muscles.
Yep.
And in basketball, you need like the stronger you are, the more you can do on the court. And are you
Right.
eating enough fats? It's so important for your brain. And so herbs obviously, like, it's your body's preferred source of energy. Make sure you eat plenty of carbs before you're going on your run or whatever. So
Yep.
it's just they're so aware of what I do, but I don't feel like it's ever been this negative thing. It's just
Yeah.
like it's all about fueling your body. So it's just
Exactly. That's the same
information
exact
is
way.
power.
Right. It
Yeah.
absolutely is. Okay. I know I've kept you too long already, but I want to just
And
um, talk about, okay, so you have cookbooks and you also have your meal planning subscription. Am I saying that right? That's what you call it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you can follow Lillie on Instagram, and links to all of that are on your Instagram page, I'm sure. So definitely make sure that you're following her for all the wonderful recipes and resources, and maybe try out one of her recipes this week. There are so many that I love. They are just so delicious. And like I said, I mean, I've been a
Thank you.
huge fan for all these years, and you've never steered me wrong. So I promise you guys will not be disappointed. I would love to know, like, do you have any like new projects you're working on? Anything you're like super excited about right now?
I mean, honestly, no. Just keeping up with it all.
I don't know how you do. Yeah. Yeah. The meal planning subscription, I think, is just like money. It is so money. Especially
Thank
for
you.
people
Honestly,
who,
like, I'm super excited about that. I do think about doing a cookbook with like some best of the meal plan. So that's maybe like in my thoughts, but
yeah.
I've been so busy with the meal plan I haven't really thought a lot about
Yeah. Yeah.
the
I
next
mean,
cookbook yet.
I feel like that's got to be a lot of work on your end. So I'm just like really appreciative of that, because it certainly
Thanks,
makes
Lauren.
my life a lot easier. But
Good.
yeah, this was so refreshing. I hope you guys just really loved hearing from Lillie and how she simplifies macro tracking and still makes it just delicious. There, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It's not like, you're eating cardboard and hitting your goals, or you're eating delicious foods that, don't align with your goals. And so it's just, a really great reminder that macro tracking isn't about perfection. It's not about restriction. It's literally about awareness and confidence and freedom and all those things.
Totally.
And yeah, so Lillie, thank you so much. This was
Welcome. Thank
great.
you.
I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you had a great trip. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to chat with me, and I can point you in the right direction of all of Lillie's resources and things. So, hope you guys have a great day. Thanks again, Lillie.
Thanks, Lauren.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.